Hey, everybody, welcome to this incredible edition of the ActionCAST. Man, what a show we have for you today. I'm Clinton Nobles, operational methodologist, and here on the ActionCAST, we bring you each week actionable information that you can take and make a real difference in your business right now. So, I promise you, we have an incredible show today, and we will deliver on that because I have with me Miss Susan Williams, Home Care Ops Nation's very own action leader. She's part of our Action Leader membership. You obviously are the owner of Back to Home Healthcare Services. You're an administrator in a nursing facility. Your skill set is incredible, and not to mention, like, you exercise more than anybody I know. I'm fairly certain of this. Like, you are amazing and you never stop. Susan, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you and Jessica for having the Home Care Action Leaders. I am so excited to be a part of it. It's been a blessing to learn these repeatable skills and systems that you guys have put into place, and I'm just looking forward to the next couple of months of what you guys have. It's always like a surprise of what you guys are offering, so I'm looking forward to growing with you guys as you continue on in 2021.
Oh man, we appreciate having you as part of the Action Leader experience. You are dynamic, you're always on the go, and it is really our honor to be along with you on this journey, because watching you as you develop your agency and grow and build, it really is incredible. And if you're just joining us on the ActionCast, we are here today to talk about the top 3 secrets every startup must know. And what's really great about this is even if you are a seasoned veteran, trust me, you're going to want to listen to these, because it's not just startups that need to know this. This is foundational elements that really affect the bottom line. So with us today is Susan Williams, owner of Back to Home and Action Leader Extraordinaire. Susan, this is a live show, as you know, like you are familiar with the ActionCast. So everybody out there, make sure to say hey to Susan. Let us know where you're listening in from. And make sure to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, authorize your account so we can know who you are. All right. So Susan, let's go ahead and jump into this. We're talking about 3 secrets that every startup must know. Now, how we come up with this, you and I were talking back and forth a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about you coming on the show. And I had this kind of concept of where the show would go. And then as you got to talking to me and we were emailing back and forth, you started into these really 3 core concepts that were so vital when you were starting up your business. And it really just blew my mind. And it was like, we have to make the show about this. Because the 3 things that you're going to talk about here, it is really foundational elements. It affects the marketing, it affects your growth, it affects your team, and most importantly, it affects us as owners. So let's jump right into it. The first thing that you talked about was being confident in your ability, value, and the solutions you bring to your community. Now, you have an incredible experience level. So talk to us a little bit about what it is like, not just as an admin in the nursing facility that you're with, but also in opening up your business. How did that having confidence in your ability, value, and the solutions you bring really make a difference to you?
I think that the most important thing is when you're presenting to the facilities and going out marketing is that you definitely have to believe in yourself. You definitely have to present your company and know what the values of what your company means to you. That's the first and foremost. I also believe in delivering the message and making sure that you're getting your message across to your audience is very important as well. Also being prepared and being ready to discuss your company's values and their ability. what you can deliver to the actual to the actual customer. And most importantly, always always knowing what the end result is, and that is networking and getting the actual contract, whether it be the contract or relationship with that facility. So that's the most important thing, is being confident. You've got to know your self-worth and what your company is about.
And I love what you were talking about here, because if y'all will notice and pay attention, because this is so important, you didn't mention one time talking about ambulating a client or assisting a client with doing this. It was understanding not the ability of the services, but your why, who you are. Because so often when we walk into these communities, and we walk into even a community like yours,
Mhm.
and we're talking to the admin, we almost do it apologetically. We come in and are like, hey, I really hope you want to use me. And how do you frame that when you walk in and starting your business? Because you have a really good understanding of what those people in those positions are looking for. So how can we go in with confidence and solicit that business and not feel like we're in the way, or we're just trying to get in and get out?
So one of the things that I look, what I do is I do a market analysis. I look up their quality report, which tells me where they are having deficiencies at. So say for instance, they may have discharges or issues or concerns with bounce back rehospitalizations. So I try to target specifically with that facility on their rehospitalization. So I make it personalized to their facility. I just don't sell them the idea that I have certain services, because there's probably maybe 20 or 30 agencies that come into my personal nursing home to sell me that same pitch. But what differentiates the difference is I like to see follow-up. I want to see that what's the difference between agency A and agency B? What are you going to offer me? Everyone offers the same services, but what's the difference? And I
Yeah,
definitely want to see that confidence that kind of exudes out of you.
I love that. And for those of you who are just joining us, and we're getting hearts and thumbs up like crazy out here, because what you're saying is really connecting. And for those just joining us on the ActionCAST, we're talking about the 3 secrets every startup must know. And we're with Susan Williams today, owner of Back to Home Healthcare Services. So when we go in and do this, it's about understanding that we need to build that trust, right?
Correct.
That's what you're saying. We're in there, and trust doesn't have to just be built on the delivery of your service. It's you don't have to sit there and wait for them to give you a referral to build trust.
No.
We do that by establishing small promises along the way and then delivering on them. I love that. That's so good. So, all right. So the next element you said, and it really plays right into it, because being confident with your ability and the value and the solutions you bring to the community, which is super important, the community, is number 2. You said the second secret is create a plan based off your skill and experience. And this is something that really you have owned. You have done so well with this because you have so much experience to draw from. Tell us a little bit about your experience and how you use that to kind of build your plan to really start and grow your business.
So as you know, I am working full-time as a nursing home administrator, but I'm also doing my startup business as an agency, a home care agency. And the balance of trying to do both, as you know, can be quite difficult. You have got to be able to sit down and tap into your skills. So me thinking, what are some of my strongest skills? Okay. For me, my strongest skills, I believe, is time management. And that's how I've been able to be so successful. I know you and I talked about my time management skills, and you said, well, where did it come from?
You're so good at it.
2 months ago? And I said, well, just to give you a quick story, I'm the last of 17 kids. My mom was very time management. We were very on time. I mean, when I tell you we really know time, I could tell you what I'm doing for the next, hopefully, day and a half, hour to hour. And that works for me. It works for me. And it helps me give me balance. It gives me balance. So not only am I drawing out on those skills, it allows me to expand, um, in my professional competency as well. Because if you think about it, I'm able to balance both of my careers. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so and when I think of my staff, and I have some other, other skills that I like to write down and kind of work on, the idea is to draw off of what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses, and then go from there and try to work on those. But at the same time, I think it's important that you allow, when you're orientating your staff, you kind of figure out, or at least ask them, what are their strengths and what are their weaknesses? Because as you're growing your company, you can pull from those strengths and weaknesses that they have to help you grow your company. And that's what I've done with one of my previous caregivers. She is just an example. Was a previous scheduler 10 years ago. Well, who would know? She didn't put it on her resume, but when we had orientation, I asked her what was a couple of skills that she, possessed, and that came up. And obviously, it's very helpful for me. So I drew off of that.
That's so good, and it goes down to understanding, like you said, your strengths and your weaknesses, but also how to utilize them through your experience. Because time management, like people do not realize how busy you are. Like it is, you're always going, and to be able to kind of what we call juggle that. Some people feel like, oh man, I can't do that, and that's fine, because their strengths lie in other areas, understanding their skill. And of course, you also have the skill of the clinical world to draw from.
Correct.
And during COVID, you told me this earlier, I thought this was really good, how you pulled from one of your other skill sets that you were trained on that really helped you with your business. So go into that just a little bit.
Sure. So I've been alongside with being a nursing home administrator, I'm also a respiratory therapist, and I still practice per diem once every 6 weeks as a respiratory therapist. So I was able to do some on-site COVID testing. And alongside with that, I'm able to do testing of my employees and my residents at the nursing home. So
man, and that gave you such a great opportunity to make incredible connections.
Absolutely.
Like, it's so amazing how when we sit down and look at it and really put together what our skill, what our strengths are, whether it's home care related or not. I think sometimes, especially in the startup phase, we get so focused on being in the home care world that we forget how impactful we are outside of that world as well.
Correct.
And that's what you're talking about, understanding those strengths and then learning how to build that plan around them.
Correct. Absolutely.
Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about here is something that when you mentioned it, and this really cemented, I was like, man, we got to talk about this, because this is something I wholeheartedly believe.
Yeah.
Like from childhood, I have really, really done this. My dad he used to talk to us about making sure that we believed in ourselves and we did all of this. But then as we grew older, there became more to it. And what you're talking about here, and for those of you just joining us, we're with Susan Williams on the ActionCAST today. And the first secret that she just dropped on us here is be confident in your ability, value, and the solutions you bring to your community, not services, but solutions. That's so good. And number 2 is create a plan based off of your skill and experience, right? Which builds right into your number 1 secret every startup must know, which is invest in yourself to learn and grow. Now, take us through this a little bit, because you as you said, this is kind of something you've done your whole life. And I mean, we can definitely see it in the Action Leader experience, how you really pour into that. So tell me a little bit about, what do you mean by invest in yourself? Is it like, how can we invest in ourselves?
So when I speak about invest, as a child, my mother always, told us, oh, you got to save money, and everybody thinks that, right? And
Hmm.
saving money is an investment, right? We think of that all the time. Saving money is an investment, but she also instilled in us at an early stage that we have to invest in ourselves. But we really didn't understand it then at that time. It wasn't until maybe we were in our teenage years when we were going to school, and she said, you need to invest in your skills so that throughout your career you will be able to multiply. And we're still not, we didn't get it then either. But you become more valuable to your employer and to
Hmm.
yourself if you invest in yourself and learn to grow. I make a joke with my staff and I say, if I learn something new every day, when I learn something new, it could be at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock or 6 o'clock, then it's time for me to go home. I've met my match. I try to make sure that I learn something new for the day. But in order to achieve career advancement, and recognition, you need to keep growing. You have to keep growing. And especially in home care, because things are just changing. It's so fluidic.
Hmm.
It's evolution, and that was one of the reasons why I joined you guys, because I just felt when I joined initially and I was on the regular page, I said, wow, this is interesting, but there's more. They got more to give me. And I need to trace this. I need to chase this trail, and that's how I ended up in the Action Leaders. So when we talk about investing, that is one of my investments for myself, is part of the ActionCAST leaders. And not only that, I find that being a leader and an owner, it's important for me to invest in my growth so that my caregivers and the people that report to me see that I don't get stagnant, and when I'm trying to encourage them to do like end services and training and so forth, they see that I'm doing it, so it encourages them to do it.
And you brought up a really good story earlier,
Mhm.
and as we're coming down kind of to the end of the show here, um, I want you to go over this if you would, because when we were talking about investing in ourselves,
Mhm.
you flipped this on its ear, and it was so good. Talk to us a little bit about how you think kind of the alternate way of investing. Talk to me about that.
So, can I give you the example of my?
Yes.
Oh, so you never know who you are encouraging. So I have a housekeeper that comes into my, at the nursing home. She comes in and she cleans up, and we have a little bit of conversation here and there. And she tells me about her dreams, and she goes, "I'm sorry." I said, "No, no, you clean up. You got to do your job." And she goes, "Well, I'm just the housekeeper." And I'm like, "Don't you ever say that. You are more than a housekeeper." She goes, "I know, but I said, "No, no, no, no. We all have a job to do." I said, "And you do an amazing job." I said, "You could do just about anything you want to do. You have an increasing skill set." I said, "I'll tell you, I'll be honest. I'm not the greatest cleaner like you, but you do a great job at it. We all have to invest in our craft or invest in ourselves." So last week she comes back in and she slides me a card and she goes, "I can't tell you, my little conversations with you when you come in, they've been so motivating." And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" She goes, "I got something for you." She passes me a card. And during the time from 2 weeks to last week, she opened up her own cleaning agency. So now she's doing her own cleaning agency. And she just came in to tell me thank you. All from a conversation when she comes into my office to vacuum, sweep, dust, and empty my trash. So you never know who you are encouraging and who you're motivating. And it just brought tears to my eyes when she told me that. I was just so impressed.
Man, it's so good,
Mm-hmm,
because when it comes down to it, it's not just investing in ourselves, but
mm-hmm.
investing in
And
others.
others.
And man, you really set this tone there for, now she understands the importance of valuing, just like you said, her ability, value, and the solution she brings.
Correct.
And Man, and I mean, literally, just what you talked about, what we have talked about here, you took her through. She's confident in her ability, her value, and the solution she brought.
Yes.
Now she's created this plan based off her skill and experience, and she's understood the importance of investing in herself to learn and grow.
Oh, wow.
It's incredible. That's why you're an action leader, right?
Yes.
Action-based leading.
Leader.
It's incredible. Susan, you have been spectacular, and for those watching today and listening in on the replays, I want you to really dig into these 3 points that Susan talked about, because the way you brought it across to us, it really is a must-know element, not just for startups, but for every level of leadership. Susan, thank you for being a part of the ActionCAST today. Really, it's been incredible.
I'm excited. Thank you so much for having us, and I hope it helped someone.
Oh, I know it's helped them. Let us know in the comment section, like, blow it up, because
Yes.
it helped me, man. We were talking earlier. It lit my fire, man. I'm stoked. I'm ready to build something, burn something, tear something down. So,
I'm ready to go and take action today. It's the weekend, but you know what? We keep taking action in the action.
Amen. Amen to that. All right, everybody. Thank you, Susan, once again.
You're welcome.
Make sure to check her out in the home care ops community out there, and all of our action leaders. Check her out in the Action Leader Experience exclusive Facebook group. And most of all out there, everybody, keep taking action.